Hello and welcome to this training session on LexisNexis Regulatory Compliance. My name is Michael Nelson and I'm the product specialist for the solution. Today we'll be looking at the content structure of the obligation registers. We'll be looking at what comprises a core obligation, and then we'll be looking at what the sub-obligations look like and how they relate to each other. We'll start with this particular core here, taken from the Australian Privacy and Data Protection module. If I click on that, you'll see there are a number of fields in this particular obligation, and this is a structure that's common to all of the obligations in our registers. As you can see, there's a short description, practical guidance, remediation, consequence, compliance source, definition, and historical notes. I'll take this to full screen so you can see what it looks like. So this is the core obligation for ensuring the security of personal information. As you can see, it starts with a question, so you can determine whether or not this particular obligation is going to be on point for your particular organization. What follows there is the practical guidance. So the view that our legal experts have formed when it comes to determining what constitutes practical compliance in relation to this particular topic. I'll scroll through this so you can quickly see what kind of content we have. As you can see, we're looking at, it's a privacy issue, so we cover a variety of both Commonwealth, state, and territory legislation. The next field is the remediation field. This sets out the kind of policies and structures that the organisation needs to embed within itself in order to maintain a level of compliance that it's comfortable with. The next field is the consequence field. This will always set out what the maximum penalties might be in the event that you or your organisation or your directors in certain circumstances might be exposed to in the event that you're found to be non-compliant. The next field is the compliance source field. This sets out all of the primary source material that our legal experts have considered when they're drafting this particular obligation. As you can see, it's quite extensive, but again, it talks to both Commonwealth privacy issues and the different state and territory privacy issues as well. So by consequence, there are a lot of compliance sources that we've had to draw on. These are, of course, live links. So in the event that you want to get down and have a look at the legislation that informed this particular obligation, click on the link and it'll take you to the website that's hosting the legislation, and you'll be able to then refer to which schedules we looked at, which particular sections we looked at through there. The next field is the definition field. This sets out where we have used terms as defined in legislation within our content. We'll pull that definition out from the definition section of the relevant legislation, and we'll put it here so you can be confident we're talking consistently across terms. And then finally, historical notes. This allows you to see all the changes that we've made to a given obligation over the course of its life. As you can see, the variety of prompts for changes, whether it's revision of hyperlinks to various state or federal government legislation, updating penalty unit values to take into account indexation, or the addition of new tools to take into account new changes driven, for example, by the notifiable data breach scheme. As you can see from the content, it's relatively high level, but that's because it's a core obligation. To find information about specific aspects of the topic that's covered at the core, that's where the sub-obligations come in. So let me show you an example here. This deals with simply the issues arising from protecting personal information. As you can see, it follows the same structure, the question at the top, then practical guidance. But in this case, the practical guidance only talks to what compliance looks like in relation to the issue around protecting personal information. Practical guidance covers off state and territory and Commonwealth, of course. Runs through reasonable steps and training. And segues into the remediation field, the consequence field, the compliance sources, the definitions, and the historical notes. In this particular instance, you can see there's been an update in October this year that talks to changes that were introduced by the Independent Commissioner Against Corruption Amendment Act 2021 in South Australia. This is the ID of the alert that will give you more information in relation to the context and the impact of the changes on your organisation. So when linking changes that we've made to a particular obligation as driven by a given alert, this is how you then refer back to what drove that particular change. For more information about alerts, please have a look at the webinar that I've done on how to manage and deal with alerts in our content set. Thank you for your time. I hope you found this useful. All the very best.